Welcome back, everybody, to another video review for the Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Godzilla series. Now, real quick, before we actually get into this video, I just want to say, Hiya Toys, I apologize. I have not been doing your box art any justice. Now, I always show off the boxes in these videos. I just never really talk about them because I don't really care about their boxes. The Godzilla vs. Kong figure series has okay boxes. They get the job done. They don't really catch my eye, though. Now, when it came to the King of the Monsters series, Hiya Toys elected to just rip off NECA wholesale, but holy crap, did they really kick it up a notch with this figure. This full art graphic design on the boxes, I really like this. This is a nice box. And this is basically what they're going to be doing for every figure, with a few exceptions going forward. But that's enough of that. That's enough sucking off the boxes, all right? We're not here to discuss the boxes. We're here to discuss the toys. And holy shit, is this a cool looking toy. In this series, we're going to be taking a look at every single Hiya Exquisite Basic figure in the Godzilla line, every repaint, reissue, 2.0, whatever they put out. We're going to be taking a look at them all in release order. Let's get started. So here we have the Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Godzilla vs. Kong Heat Ray Godzilla. I want to make that part very clear. This is the Heat Ray Godzilla as seen in Godzilla vs. Kong. This is Hiya's first attempt at a Heat Ray Godzilla, and I gotta say, I really like what they did here. Now, through and through, despite this being called the Godzilla vs. Kong figure, this is a repaint of the Godzilla King of the Monsters sculpt that we took a look at in the last video. There is no sculpted difference, no articulation difference. This is the exact same figure, but it has been repainted to look like the Heat Ray version as seen in Godzilla vs. Kong. So with that said, let's just readjust the order of operations here. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's go right into the paint. Let's talk about this Heat Ray version. So the inside of the mouth is going to be this very light blue that's going to be applied on the teeth. The eyes are going to be pure white with a gradual blue dry brushing. The back of the head is going to be dry brushed blue, leading into a nice fade into the neck. And that's going to lead into these beautiful spines. The spines are going to have a white base as they gradually fade in this very dark blue, this almost dark gray blue. And then the base is airbrushed with a lighter blue. And this is going to be very subtly applied to the scales on the back, but it is there. In fact, the camera might be amplifying it just a little too much. And then that airbrushing, is going to be applied all the way down the tail to the very tip. The chest is going to have a two-toned approach, same color of blue, but it's going to be dry brushed into the creases of the scales as well as painted over. In fact, in some areas, painted over a little too much. There's some glops of paint on mine around the crotch, and it's especially thicker around the neck here. It's very subtly airbrushed on the arms right around the armpits, as well as very subtly airbrushed along the inner thighs. This emulates Godzilla's look in Godzilla vs. Kong very nicely, with the chest lighting up and then the back lighting up. It looks so damn cool, especially with those piercing white eyes. Also, while we're on the subject of paint, the body is going to have, once again, that charcoal gray, almost charcoal brown. It's going to have a very subtle brown wash applied all throughout the body. Everywhere that isn't blue is going to have this very, very subdued brown wash, just to really emphasize the sculpted detailing there without taking away from the eye-catching blues that are applied all throughout the figure. Now, what is a Heat Ray Godzilla without His heat ray. Yes, this is now the first Godzilla from Hiya Toys that comes with accessories. And he comes with a few accessories in this nice little separated clamshell. All right, so here is the heat ray piece. This is a really nice looking heat ray piece. There's a decent amount of detail going on here. So in addition to the heat ray piece, this figure comes with an alternate neck and head piece. Now this is where things get a little odd. This neck piece is meant to recreate Godzilla shooting his beam up in the air, but that doesn't happen in Godzilla vs. Kong. That happens in Godzilla King of the Monsters. So why did they include this? Well, we're going to find out very soon. Anyway, to install this, all you need to do is pop off the head, take off the neck sleeves, slide on the new neck sleeve, and then pop the head back on. Here is how the figure looks with the alternate neck and headpiece attached. Again, it's a very specific look. You could decide to get Godzilla like hunched over like that. You know, it's a neat inclusion. It has the same paint apps going for it the other neck has, so it doesn't look out of place. But the scene this is referring to, it's an odd scene to be referring to for this particular figure. We're going to reattach the default neck sleeves, but then we're going to keep this sculpted open mouth head, and we're going to go ahead and pop that back on, because how Hiya Toys has done heat rays is the end of the heat ray there, if my camera will focus, is kind of sculpted to like a brick, and that's actually keyed to this head sculpt. As you can see, there isn't really teeth on this head sculpt. There's no tongue. That's because it's sculpted to where you just kind of slide this in, you shove it down his throat, just like that, and there you go. Now, my one problem with this heat ray attachment is that the key at the end of the heat ray is at an angle. They did that so that if you wanted to get the King of the Monsters pose with the neck pointed straight up and the head looking straight up firing a beam, they did that so that you could get the heat ray pointed straight up, but it just looks odd in any other heat ray pose. And so if I want this thing firing straight out of his mouth, it has to be at an angle like this. Look, it's not the end of the world. This is far from the worst heat rays I've ever seen, but you know, it just would have been better if it was sticking straight out of the mouth rather than curved at an angle. If you want it firing any further down than that, what you can do is you can pop it out and you can rotate it around. The key works both sides. And there you go. Now he's shooting straight down at an even weirder angle. It's not my preferred look. Again, it would have been nicer, would have been cleaner if this wasn't angled. But I get it. It is what it is. You have an angle like that, it looks nice. Let's talk about articulation now. Yeah, this is the same figure. This is the same figure as the King of the Monsters figure. They have the same articulation. Once more with feeling, shall we? So the head is on a ball joint here. It's a single barbell, so it can look down about that far, and it can look up about that far without the assisted neck piece. The jaw is on a hinge. That hinge is covered with the sculpt this time. Very nice. The tongue is on a hinge. The shoulders are on ball joints. The elbows are on hinges. They can swivel. The wrists are on ball joints. The waist is a ball joint that basically can't move. It can swivel, but who wants to do that? The thighs are on ball joints. They can spread out that far. They can go in that far. The knees are on double hinges. They can straighten out that far. They can bend that far. The feet, the knee, ankles, losing my mind, are on ball joints. The tail is on a ball joint. It's multi-segmented. Here's a ball joint. Here's a ball joint. Here's a ball joint. Here's a stiffer ball joint. Here's a ball joint. Here's a ball joint. Here's a ball joint. Here's a ball joint. And here is a ball joint. Altogether, the tail can curve around about that far. Oh boy. This is another Godzilla from Hiya Toys. Looks very cool, though. Looks very cool. Now for some comparisons. Here we have the 3 Hiya Toys Godzilla figures so far. We have the King of the Monsters, Godzilla, on the left, the original Godzilla vs. Kong on the right, and the Heat Ray Godzilla vs. Kong in the middle. Now, what is a heat ray comparison without a heat ray comparison? Am I right or am I right? Here is, once again, the SH Monster Arts Godzilla X Kong pre-evolved Godzilla. On the one hand, I still really like how this particular Monster Arts Heat Ray figure looks. The almost metallic blue spines, they just look really nice. But if we're talking about film accuracy, yeah, Hiya kind of nailed it here. And here is the Heat Ray GVK Godzilla alongside the GVK Kong. You know, my thoughts about Kong aside, this is a damn good looking pair right here. And for a different flavor of comparison, here is once again the SH Monster Arts San Diego Comic Con exclusive Kong. And here is a supercharged banana for scale. So, final thoughts. This figure kicks ass. This is a crazy good Heat Ray version of Godzilla. It's a solid repaint of a solid figure. Is it worth picking up today? Yeah, I would say so. There is another Heat Ray variant of Godzilla that we will be taking a look at later on. And some people prefer that. I kind of prefer this one. I'm getting ahead of myself on that, though. We'll be taking a look at that in due time. But I just really like the paint apps on this figure, on this release. I think if you're a fan of Heat Ray Godzillas, this is absolutely worth picking up today. Even if you, excuse me, that's the banana talking. Even if, oh my God, there it is again. Even if you already own the other two Godzilla figures. If you want a Heat Ray figure on display, I think this is the one. As far as I know, it's still in stock. So, yeah, I think that's all I have to say on this. Thank you all for watching. If you watched to the end, let me know in the comments what you think of this figure, how it looks to you. Which one do you prefer of these three Godzillas we've taken a look at so far? Let me know if there's anything you would like to see in this channel. Let me know if there's anything you would like me to do differently with these videos. Until next time, guys, see ya.